Alright guys, this is Dylan with Checkmate Vanguard. It's been a hot minute since I topped a locals, fun fact. For context, we still had no product, but today we won one of these. Ooh, I didn't need a prize, but I felt like today was a great day anyways. So, today we got first place ORFIST list. No memes, no bullshit, 4-0, ORFIST. A lot of people are on the fence about this deck, whether they think it's legit or not legit. For the most part, I played the mirror match today, and that was pretty brutal. I even beat Bastion. It goes to show you that I think this can hold toe-to-toe with Bastion if you play it right and you do really well and get to your tokens early. Other than that, I call this Umu.deck. My Kohai and me both laugh about it because they're Cardinal red cards. So we think this shit's hilarious. Besides the point, let's get into the deck list. Ride line. No bullshit. Same volley ride line. You don't need to change it.
Wait. You want to talk about it? You want to talk about it?
Oh, God. Is this is it actually in the shot? LOL.
Yes. Oh wait. Here. Just make it better.
Stop. Okay. Look, we're gonna redo the entire deck list now. Okay. I don't know.
Y'all good. They won't roast you, right, guys?
Stop. You're trying too hard to be funny. Okay.
I'm not.
Pardon my Kohai. He's still awesome. Shout out Army Tokens, Ibuki Squad, hashtag. Okay, let's move on to the bread and butter. Trigger lineup, over trigger, 4 of this crit, 4 of this crit, 3 front, 4 heal. There's people that play draws in this deck. Don't play draws. You can play draws if you want to, because of card advantage, but you get so much, and you cycle already. You have the grade 2 that cycles through more if you need it. There's enough draw power to get you wherever you're going in this deck, and trust me, you probably don't need to play draw triggers. You can play the fronts to really keep it going. The really numbers you want to... 40 really hurts, I would say. 40 with the tokens really do hurt a lot, and if you can get to that number, even if you hit a front trigger, it's really solid. Great ones. Omni Charger, gotta play 4. This, I feel indifferent on. I didn't use this skill entirely all day. He's great if you're backed into a corner, and you really have to use it. But I would really recommend not using it, because in the cases where you need to come prepare for an extra, you want to prepare for 2 times you want to use your tokens ahead of time, even while you're using bubble mines. You can use this if you want to, or you can play the 10k booster. It's up to you. I'm indifferent on it. 4 PGs, no questions.
That's a standard.
It's standard. Here's the parts where it gets a little strange. You can play 4 Cold Monster Drumler. I kind of use him in the case I just don't see orders. Well, who am I kidding? You need to have orders to play him. He's extra for good draw power in some senses. I use him to pitch a lot for the ride deck, but I think he's okay. You can play him still. This you just need for beater. You just need this because if you're only going to create 1 set of tokens, this becomes 15k. Don't need to like use 2 CB to create your 2 15 columns when you can just drop 1 or 2 of these or another grade 2 and you're fine. That's just excessive if people have to use 2 ORFIST skills to really get where they're going. You really don't need that. 3 the man himself. You really want to persona ride him. Persona riding in this guy isn't really good. Sometimes you don't need to. If your opponent's at 3, I wouldn't push and do it, because they'll just like if you don't hit crits, they take the 2 rear guards and that's all your turn is. But
because most likely you're gonna have that the token behind the Vanguard. So
yes, on your second time you do your persona ride, yeah, I would. You would have your token behind your Vanguard. You're hitting 43.
Yeah, even without the persona ride, that's 23. No, 28.
28, which is okay. It's okay. Most of the time, people either PG this or they just don't. I noticed that with everybody. They either PG this or they don't. And so all the times you're going to give only fucks about your rearguard columns. That's the only thing you give a shit about. I see people be making tokens behind here, and I'm like, why are you doing that? They PG or they don't take it. There's no... That's it, really. Just really want to make sure you capitalize on the persona rights. Do it at 4 or 5. That's my best advice for it. Don't be like doing it at 2 or 3. That's bad. Save it for when you're really gonna push hard. 4 of each order. 2 camps. The people that play 6 or 7, the camp that plays 8. Any time I mulligan today and I didn't see an order, I just sent the entire hand back for an order. Because you really want to get ORFIST live the first grade 3 turn. Yeah, otherwise your turns are just really subpar and bad. Because then you get into a bad rut. Like, oh no, I can't find my order to get to where my deck goes. That is very terrible. I luckily won one of my games like that today. Against the ORFIST mirror, surprisingly. And I wouldn't be in the camp where you don't have 8. Even though in the next set we are getting a new order, just keep in mind that order count matters, I guess. But I'm on the side of the fence that plays 8.
Well, there's going to be a new card that can top 3 search or order. Whereas it isn't bad. There's a grade 1 that can search top 3.
That's good too. You just need as much consistency to see what you got. If they don't give you rear guards to play with, you got to make sure that you're not just using this just because you need the Dark Knight. Instead, you can just draw a card instead. That's one of the best things I can tell you about playing this deck is that don't just play this because you need to get the Dark Knight. If you can have a second one of these to get there too, that's great. Honestly, that's really good. And this card picking off front row interceptors is good too. So we'll talk about from here on. We'll talk about matchups and things. I played 2 horny jail / prison decks. First one wasn't really close. I only gave them 1 card to play with, and that was really it. I just outlasted them, and they just didn't have enough to guard 30k, 40k columns every time.
I mean, you have the token, so that's really just going to counter them. They just disappeared.
Exactly. They just don't give a shit. Once they get the grade 1 from the grade 2, that's really it. You just kind of play with that one. You don't call anything else. You just play with the tokens. And then the second one went to game 3 because I made a mistake. I accidentally had to put another grade 2 on board, and what do you know? The aggro rouge becomes 5k attack, and he shields against 10k shield, and I kind of fucked up there, not gonna lie. And I had to dig myself out of a 0-1 hole and win the next 2 games, and we did. So
I mean, that's surprisingly I mean, who would expect that? Oh shit, me playing this card is gonna be locked in and I can't do much about it. I mean, it's not your fault.
I did make a few mistakes today, but I managed to rebound and get back from them. I would say I didn't play perfect. Anyone doesn't have to play perfect with this deck. I say a lot of it comes down to resource management. I think the key thing is just always making sure you don't overcommit to your board with your tokens. I knew the dude I played today would overcommit really hard and just use 2 CB to call 1 token. I'm just like, why are you doing that? Why? When you can call 3, you just call 1. Why? And if you don't need to do the CB to create the tokens, don't do it, because then if they retire them or some other bullshit comes up where they attack those 2 in the front and you just need more units, then it's fine. If you CB2 for 2 tokens, that's perfectly fine. But when you do it for 1, that's really terrible, and that's when you get yourself into a spot for counterblast locking, and that's very bad. The guy I played in his list, he played the grade 3 that attacks all the cards in the same column, which is really good in the mirror match. Especially when he can attack not only the Vanguard, but also the rear guard booster, which sometimes it never really had one, so it never really affected me. But that was really solid. And then the final match was the true test against Bastion, which was a very aggro variant of it. Playing the girl that looks like a battle sister, where if you drive check a trigger, she restands herself at a counterblast of 2 counterblast. Like, I would say that matchup was very close. I had to dig myself out of a 0-1 hole there, and we luckily pulled that back. The overtriggers, I would say in general, talking about overdress in general, today the overtrigger didn't really decide anything but 1 game, and by then I was already killing him. And really I hit it a couple times with the damage checks, and that was it. Surprisingly, like the overtrigger for Brandt Gate's very good, especially in the sense that your opponent's gonna no pass and be like, oh, okay, cool, no pass, hit the overtrigger, 2 crit Vanguard, then you hit another crit, oh, you're dead, buddy. And like I said, with ORFIST especially, you can capitalize on it because everyone's just like, okay, I'm either PGing in this or I'm not PGing in this. You force out the PG, and then you feed the overtrigger to a different column with more crits, and the other column's hitting ginormous anyways for 50, maybe if not 30k. And that's the beauty of it, is it really takes advantage of the people that are afraid of the overtrigger. In retrospective, ORFIST is very good. I think a lot of it depends on the pilot, especially. There's people that play this deck right, and there's people that don't play this deck right. I can't say I can't really judge myself, but I think today was a really good day and a test for ORFIST.
Are you hoping for any more? What kind of support do you want for that deck?
I think, you know, the great things is that they're giving cards that interact with the tokens and kind of do more with it, where you don't have to commit like orders that do just simple retirements and you don't get the order card back. The one that's like retire a token, kill a rearguard, and draw cards very good.
Do you think they should add crits? Like if you have 2 more tokens, this rearguard gain a crit. Put more pressure, because that deck doesn't have crit like pressure.
For ORFIST in general?
Yeah, like a rearguard that said, oh, you have 2 or 3 more tokens, gain another crit.
As it is, the ORFIST lineup has to play 8 crit because
you don't
it's
get
simple
much
pressure. Yeah. If you play draws, your opponents can be like, okay, whatever. You're not hitting me crits. I'll no guard to Vanguard every time. But you keep them in check with the over trigger and the crit. If you preferably, I wouldn't use the over trigger to guard until late game because you got to keep them afraid of it the entire time.
Oh yeah, giving them the mindset of,
oh no, over trigger kills me the entire time. And then not to mention, oh, over trigger might not, you know, he hits over trigger 6 damage. He doesn't.
Yeah,
he doesn't die. And you can play this deck for the long game. You just got to really prepare for the long haul, I would say.
Is there any deck that gave you troubles?
Today was Bastion. Just Bastion being able to hit just as hard as I do every turn after turn. And it comes down to PGs.
Okay, what about Dark State? Do you think you got run against that? Do you think they give you troubles?
I think Dark States is just as bad as Bastion, in my opinion.
I feel like it's worse in my opinion.
I wouldn't care about Eden. Eden's like, okay, cool, counterblast. You waste a counterblast to kill one of my tokens, and I spend 2 more to get more. It's whatever. It's a better cost ratio than just spending a counterblast to kill something. I would say, I guess there's better ways to retire in this deck. That'd be great, honestly. But I think that's pretty much all I really had to say. Is just that the main keys to take away from this deck is you gotta really watch your resources. This isn't just a deck that's like, oh, make all your tokens, barf, win. You really have to take seriously what you're putting out on the board and what you're seriously spending on counterblast, and not just using it willy-nilly. But that's really all I want to say. I'm just glad I can rep Brandt Gate again and play my favorite nation. And I feel like I had a really awesome time tonight, really. Most of the people I played with really gave me awesome games. I can be like, wow, you know, this was a night worth playing for, and not just a free tournament, really. So I like to thank everyone, especially my locals community. All right, so this is Dylan at Checkmate Vanguard, and this is ORFIST. First place, ORFIST LOL. And we will see you all later.
Goodbye.
Hey peeps, Dylan at Checkmate Vanguard here. Cardfight Vanguard Overdress is now here. We look forward to releasing more deck profiles and epic matches this new year of Vanguard. Thanks to Rivals Gaming for the support, as well as our entire locals community.